Well, welcome back, my friends all, to another rousing rendition of Choir Boys Outdoors. Listen, we're doing the Wee Knives Stonefish, designed by Michael Emler over at Crazy Shark. He designed it as a combat utility knife, and I love these knives. I love the discussions we get in the comments. I love all that goes with it. I love the people who comment and without watching the video because they hate Emler, or they hate me, or they hate we, or they hate whoever, or vice versa. They love it. That's always fun because you can tell who watches and who don't. But I like combat utility knives for a couple of reasons. One, they're super aggressive. Two, typically speaking, I like to see if they work or not. Now, here's the thing. I can't stab anybody. We've discussed this many times. So we're not going to delve into the combat side of it or the fighting side of it other than a few observations. It's important to tell you I've never served, I'm not a vet, anything like that, okay? But what we can do is dive into the utility side. We can look at the toughness of the blade. We can get a really good idea of the design. I don't know what the hell I was doing there, but we can get a good idea of the design, what it was meant to do, its capabilities, etc. So let me give you some specs and then let's just jump into it because I have a lot of thoughts on this knife. This might be one of the more comprehensive reviews I've done on a knife in a while. Now, the blade thickness is 1/8 inch thick. The overall length is 9 3/16. The blade length is 4 3/8. The cutting edge is 3 3/4. The blade width is 1 1/16 inch. The handle length. Now, typically speaking, I just measure the handle scales. That's 4 5/8. The inner grip, to me, one of the more important measurements of this whole deal, is 4 3/8 and a handle thickness of 7 1/16. It is a thinner handle, but it's one I prefer. The inner grip of 4 3/8, there's not a hand on this planet that would be uncomfortable with that. Man, that's huge. That's really big. The weight on this knife is 6.5 ounces. It's light, it's well balanced. The steel is CPM 20 CV. The HRC is 59 to 61. It does have a flat grind with G10 handle scales. Now, here's the thing. Over these past few months, Emler and I have become pretty good friends. We talked quite a bit, or we did. He's taken on a new job, and the dude's working a ton. I'm working a ton. It's summer, my grandson's, all the excuses you can have. But every couple weeks, we'll talk for about an hour on the phone, and I've gotten to know Emler a good bit. I was excited when he sent a few of his designs because here's the deal. Here's kind of the thing with my channel, my shtick, okay? I'm not here to run a knife company down. I'm not here to review a knife. I'm not a knife reviewer. That's not what I do. I'm a knife figurer outer. What do? We use it. Does it work? Can we make it work with our limited skill set? Are there any hot spots? Are there any weaknesses? What are the strong points? That's what I like to do. I don't get into the other. That's just not me. This part's very important, and this part is essential, and it's central to what we do. I don't make broad sweeping statements. Now, I've said that a lot, but let me tell you why that is. I can't tell you anything about any knife other than the one that's in my hand. I don't do comparisons in these videos. I don't give you 5 or 6 different companies during a video. We focus on one company, one knife. I demonstrate every single knife as if it's the only knife in the world. That's just the way I run my channel. It allows me to do what I do, enjoy what I do, and give you a pretty good overall opinion. But remember, it's my opinion. Knives are subjective, okay? Now, we just did a stab test. I like doing that for a couple of reasons. Is the handle slick? Will it slip? Is there hot spots? This is a new little demonstration I added where we just slice a piece of tire. Now, here's the thing. If you're new here and you're wondering, well, Scab, why don't you use this, or this? Because I like using industrial materials, and I feel like this. If the knife will cut and handle these materials, they'll cut and they'll handle anything. Now, obviously, there's some nuanced things, right? Like, you're not going to get in a good indicator of how a knife would do how well a knife would do in a kitchen on this channel. That's something we'll work on down the road, but I'm not a cook, so it would be disingenuous, okay? We don't do much in the kitchen. Every now and then I'll cut some stuff up. These are the materials that I have on hand. These are materials that I actually do cut every day and need to cut every day. And they're materials that I've become accustomed to. Plus, they're super damn tough. That's sandblast hose. That's reinforced sandblast hose. The tire we were stabbing is a steel belted tire. So we use some tough stuff. There's the ratchet strap. There's the extension cords. The other side is this. It's not just about showing, hey, this knife is sharp, it held its edge, it didn't chip, it didn't roll. I mean, that's great, and you need to know those things. We need to know those things before we make a purchase. But the thing that I've just kind of come to realize, and we're doing a modified tip test there. Now listen, I want y'all to understand something. This is a knife that Emlers sent me to take a look at, okay? This is not my knife. It is not from a knife company. It's from its designer, okay? So when I get these knives in from people, we're going to do some actual use, but I'm not going to beat the shit out of it like I would if We Knives sent that knife. I'd get off big time on hammering it, right? When it's somebody's personal property, we're going to go hard, and if you send me a knife, you should know that we're going to go hard, right? It's just what we do. But I'm not going to destroy your shit. That doesn't prove anything to me in connection with what I do as a channel, and I keep going back to that. There are channels who break knives. They do that for a reason and a purpose, and they have a way of doing it. I do not. I'm set up differently. We do actual use, and I'm not blasting that. I'm just telling you there are differences. If a knife breaks on this channel, that is a problem, right? Depending on how it breaks. This is some of that Kevlar fire hose. What's crazy about this fire hose is there are certain ways that you can cut it. Cuts very easily. You can slice right through it, make some nice clean cuts. You try to cut it any other way than that particular way, and you're going to look like a dumbass, and the knife's going to look dull when it is not. That's why I like this medium a lot. You see right there, it's not doing anything. Does that mean the knife's not sharp? No. The Kevlar fire hose is one of my more favorite things, but then it's susceptible. Once you get it going, it's very susceptible once you get into the fibers. This is an old piece. I don't even know what kind of wood this is. I think I brought it back from Alabama, from Blackie's. But I want to do just some shavings here. And a lot of times, let me tell you what this particular demonstration does. For me, it's not feather sticks. I'm the world's worst feather sticker. For me, it's feeling to see if there's any hot spots in that handle, because you can tell, you can see my arm. I've got the handle gripped. I'm holding it tightly. Do I have any hot spots in it? No. Everything on this knife is radiused very well, especially that inner grip. It's insanely comfortable. It has some nice jimping on the back. It is a drop point. I like that. It has a generous choil that if you needed to choke up for fine work, you can. Now we're about to slice some fat wood right here, some lighter knot, if you will. The knife handled insanely well. The blade geometry, I like the grinds, I like the symmetry, I like all of it. Now here, I think that's a piece of oak. We're going to baton some oak, we're going to baton some hickory, and we're going to baton some pine. Scab, do you baton in real life? No, I don't. Every now and then, if I'm camping and I'm taking a knife with me to check out, I'll do some kindling or some tinder. Rarely, if ever, unless it's just one of those big beasts of a knife that I'll show that I have that's really kind of made this channel. If it's one of my just big nasty knives, we'll baton some big shit. But with a knife like this, my mind goes back to this. If I'm in a situation where I need my knife to last, I need my cutting tool to hang in there. It's not a 1/4 inch thick, it's an 1/8 inch thick like this is. It can get razor sharp like this one started off being. It can hold an edge. Then I'm going to do everything that I can do to hold that edge because this is my cutting tool. I'm going to have to process food. I don't know what foot is, but I'm going to have to process food. I'm going to have to make a fire. I might have to make a shelter. I might have to defend myself. Now, let's talk about the defense part of this knife. I used to say something along these lines because people would always say, Scabs, is it good for self-defense? Yes, unless you're an idiot. Now, my thought process has stayed the same there, but let's delve into a little bit. We have a great balance point on this knife. It's 9 3/16 inches long. It has a 4 3/8 blade length. The cutting edge is 3 3/4. You say, Scab, you've already said that. Yes, I know. But those dimensions, to me, are perfect for defending yourself, especially up close. Now, Rambo and Schwarzenegger and the rest would have you to believe that a good self-defense knife is a 15-inch blade that's a 1/4 inch thick and all these things. Now, as much as I love those knives, you'll be wore out and gassed unless you're in shape like they are, and very few of us walk around day to day in that kind of shape, even though we're getting in shape, even though we walk and do yoga and prepare every day. The thing is this. You want to save your calories, you want to conserve your energy, and if you're going to take somebody out or you're going to try to fight somebody, you want to eliminate them as quickly as possible. What if there's more than one, right? So I don't want to swing a sword around like a madman for 15, 20, 30, 40 seconds. Now, a fight's not going to last longer than that. If you believe that, you've watched way too much TV. Most fights, especially up-close personal barroom style brawls, knife fights are going to be very, very quick. You're going to get cut. You're probably going to jail. These are all factors you need to know. But if I'm going to go against somebody, I want this knife right here. Why? It's 6.5 ounces. The steel means nothing to me. I like 20 CV. I already have. I always have. But here's the truth of the matter. It doesn't matter to who I'm trying to stab or cut what the steel is. Oh, I cut you with some expensive steel. Yeah, thanks. Or I cut you with some cheap steel. No, that doesn't matter. The blade length to me, having that 4 3/8. Now, even though the cutting edge is 3 3/4, that 4 3/8 to me, that's perfect. I can get a little pinch grip with my thumb up there. I can hold the knife close. I can manipulate it to do whatever I need the knife to do. The 6.5 ounces is incredibly light. The pommel on this thing, I wanted to talk about that. It has some jimping, but it's got a nice, I want to say maybe a 45-degree angle where I can rest my thumb. So if I go to stab, I've got a guard. I've got a choil under that guard. I've got the ergos on this handle are complementary to grabbing with the edge facing forward. The thumb ramp is comfortable. So if I need to defend myself, this is a great knife feeling-wise, right? Now, skill set trumps everything. You know that. I know that. Rambo knows that. Schwarzenegger, we all know that, right? So, spinning your ball cap around backwards and holding the knife backwards and doing all that, that's great, so that when the cops find you dead the next morning, they can say, wow, this guy really knew how to YouTube knife fight. So there's the balance point. I'm bringing all that up to say this. One, don't knife fight. Let's just not do that. But two, if you do, be experienced, have a skill set. Listen, guys, there was a time in this country where 22 veterans a day took their own lives. Now, stats are everywhere. That's why here on this channel, we focus on the number 0. Vets, we love you. You have a place here. I back the blue. That's a personal decision that I'm not arguing with anyone over. And finally, if you are an addict, never quit quitting. Well, Emler, great job, son. I'm Scab. You're not. I'm gone, son.